Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Unconditional Self-Love in Your 40s with myself, Tilly Reid. I hope you are well. I'm doing good. It's a bank holiday here in the UK, which means we get an extra day off, which is always a treat. We get 2 in May, so it's always lovely. I feel like you got that extra bonus day just to I don't know, I think you just rest more as well. Because you can get stuff done on the other 2 days and you have an extra day for rest, which is great. So I am chilling today and not doing much. But what am I talking about today? Today I am chatting about sleep. Sleep. Elusive sleep. That sometimes, plays little tricks on us. Disappears. Comes back. I'm having a little game with it at the moment, I think. I'm not sure what's going on. It's all fun and games. We always hear how important sleep is because it affects all these other things, and you're just like, okay. And I think mine's been going a little bit awry gradually, and I'm trying to get it back on track. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my own sort of sleep story in a bit. But as women in their 40s, 50s, we're going through that perimenopausal stage. And apparently 40 to 60% of women will face sleep issues. That's quite a lot. And it's understandable with everything that's going on. That can include insomnia, so not being able to get to sleep. Obviously, we've got adding into the mix night sweats, or waking up early. Those are the sort of the main sleep issues that are around that sort of start to hit really in your 40s. So for me, it just wasn't an issue. In my 20s, I slept like a baby. I loved sleep. In fact, I even remember my mum saying to me when I was a baby, she said, I had absolutely no problems with you. You would just very quickly sleep through the night. I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I knew what I wanted, even as a baby. I was, I loved it. And in my 20s, definitely in my teenage 20s, I still lived at home. And I remember there being points in the morning when my dad would bring me in a cup of tea. He would bring me in a cup of tea and he'd try to wake me up at I don't even know what time it was, probably something like 7:30. And I would be so grumpy. I would be so grumpy because I was just like, leave me alone. I don't want to get up. I was not a morning person at all. I just didn't want to get up, And I think we do know now, there's research out there now that does say that teenagers do need more sleep. But, I got through it. And into my 20s, still a pretty good sleeper. I've never been good at sleeping in new beds, in new environments. That's always something that's kind of been throughout my life. I don't know whether you're the same. If you go to stay at a hotel, I'm like, oh, this is different. It's got different sounds and it's just different, isn't it? And my body just tends to be a little bit more on alert because I'm in a new space. So I don't tend to sleep very well in those situations. But if I'm there for more than one night, I usually I will sleep the second night, mainly because I'm just knackered. So I do end up just sleeping. I did get really good at sleeping when I was on tour, when I was doing an acting tour around the UK. And I was really worried because I thought, oh God, we're going to be literally staying in different places almost every night for about 3 months. We're going to be traveling around in different hotels. I thought, oh God, this might be really bad. I might not, what happens if I can't sleep? But I think the combination of the work that I was doing, the fresh air I was getting, I didn't have any problems falling asleep that summer. Oh, I slept. I was exhausted, so I definitely slept that summer. That was a little bit of an anomaly. As I've sort of got into my 30s, it was fine. But definitely now, getting into I'm well into my 40s. I'm 47, and there's been a shift. And like I say, it's been a gradual shift. So it's been one of those things that's kind of, it snuck up on me a little bit. As even over the last, just the last few years, I have noticed that I've been waking up earlier and earlier and earlier. And it's only been recently I thought, okay, is this the normal now for me? Because basically what's happened is on average, I will wake up about 5:30 in the morning, which, to a younger version of myself, that sounds insane. I'm like, what? No, get back to sleep. And don't get me wrong, I do actually quite like being up early. I've somehow throughout the years become a morning person. I don't know when that happened, but yeah, I do enjoy the morning. I am quite perky in the morning. If I'm with people, I can chat to them. I'm doing my thing. So I am definitely a lark. I am definitely a morning person now. I'm waking up at 5:30. I was just, I've been getting used to it. I was like, okay, this is just a shift. Okay, fair enough. But I think what's happened is I'm still going to sleep or to bed and sleep around the same time I was when I was sleeping in a little bit later. So I think it's been this accumulation of just, me getting slightly less and less sleep. And I think recently I've sort of started to notice, I know last year I was having lots of problems with my fatigue. Turns out that was my thyroid having a moment. I'm now on drugs for that, to help balance that out. But I don't mind the early starts. I just wish I could go to bed a little bit earlier. That's the main thing. If I could go to sleep a little bit earlier, then maybe, and then still wake up at 5:30, problem solved. So, yeah, that's a little bit about sort of my sleep journey. How's yours? What's yours been like? Have you checked in recently? Like, just give yourself a little check-in. Am I sleeping? Am I getting enough sleep? Because it does, and I know this. It comes up a lot in a lot of other health podcasts I listen to. Sleep is one of the first things to look at when there's other things going awry. It is really, really important for us. But then it kind of has this sort of opposite effect, because we go, oh, we know it's really important. So then we get really stressed out about it. And then we don't sleep, So there's so many things we could be doing. But why is this happening? Why is this happening in our bodies? Well, the main one is our hormonal changes, because yes, women in their 40s, those pesky hormones, progesterone and estrogen, they start having a little party. Yeah, they're in there. They're on the roller coasters, just having a great time. It's hell. So that can basically affect you. Obviously, if you are somebody that's having hot flushes, I'm currently not. I don't know whether that's something that I might get to it. Kind of hoping that it's not going to be too bad. And I mean, that's the thing with perimenopause perimenopausal symptoms. Some women can be really bad, really, really bad. And then other women are not as bad, or you can get totally different symptoms. So this is everyone's journey. We don't get as much deep sleep. So the REM sleep, which is the rapid eye movement, we don't go into deep sleep, which is obviously when lots of things happen. It's, even sleep is the chance when our brain does this kind of filtering. Like it's literally like a filing system in there. It literally sorts everything out from the day, clears things, gets rid of things. It is amazing what it does. And obviously, if you're stressed, if you've got a particularly stressful life, if you're looking after kids, if you've got a stressful job, money worries, anything, all of these things can affect stress. And what stress causes our cortisol to go haywire, and that definitely affects our sleep. And we could just affect our mind. We just have a racing mind thinking about these things all the time. So what are we going to do? I've started to implement some little things in myself. I used to read before I went to bed. I used to read books, and it's obviously really good. It's not lit. It's not backlit. And I used to get to the point where literally my eyes would be closing and I'd have to read the same bit over and over again. And I don't even know how long ago now I got out of the habit. So I am bringing it back. I am bringing back the reading before sleep, because I really do think it helps my mind just switch off. I was getting into bed and I was watching things on my laptop, and that's probably not great for me. So yeah, I think reading my book is good. It's great. But some of the stuff that's out there, you've probably heard of all this before, but scheduling it, making sure it's around the same time that you go into sleep and waking up. I think this is hard sometimes, because you get to the weekend, you think, I just want to lay in. What's another hour? But trying to keep that really does help. And I've also started going out, trying to get light in the morning. So even going standing in my garden, or opening my window. So getting that light into your eyeballs in the morning. Doesn't have to be a sunny day, which is especially important because we live in the UK. But just getting that light in your eyeballs, it kicks your circadian rhythm into action. It tells you it's morning, wake up. But it also means that later on in the day, you start to get sleepy as well. So it kicks off that, which is great. Apparently room temperature is really important. Obviously, this is important if you're having night sweats. But it is better for us to have a cooler bedroom. It's good to do like a wind down, like if we call it like sleep hygiene. I think my body knows it's time for sleep when I do have blue light blocker glasses, and I put them on about 8 o'clock maybe in the evening. So they go on. I don't take them off until I go to sleep. But there is certain things I do to wind down. I will go and clean my teeth, or floss and clean my teeth, and I'll be sat in my living room, but there will be a point where I'll come in my bedroom, and then I'll chill out in my bedroom. And like I say, I was watching things, but now I've started to read. I've also I'm also implementing writing stuff down. This is really good. If you've got anything, or if you wake up for any reason with things on your mind, or you've got stuff on your mind, having a journal by your bed, on your bedside table, is great. Just get it out. Just write it out. It helps. I've journaled for, I don't even know how many years now. Quite a few years. And I love it, and it changes. Sometimes, it's just to get stuff out if you're angry about things. Sometimes it's just to talk about what happened in the day. It was a really lovely day. yeah, so I've started to do that and journal about my day. If there's anything on my mind, just get it out, get it on paper. It is always important to avoid screens. We are in the day and age where we are glued to screens, and they are made for us to be glued to our screens. They are built that way. But I don't keep my phone in the room with me at night. I do think that helps. I leave my phone in the kitchen. I charge it in there if it needs be. But I do not have my phone on me in the evening. It's not to say I don't go on it. I'm a human being. I do go have a cheeky check sometimes. But I do keep that away from me. But it doesn't mean I'm not using other screens. I am on my laptop watching programs before I go to sleep. I don't watch stressful programs though. That is one key. Don't watch anything that's too stressful. It's all very light-hearted. It's all like, usually like, those series that are like 20 minutes episodes, and they're like comedy, a bit fun. They're usually the ones to watch before going to bed. You can also take magnesium, I think it's the glycinate, is that how it's pronounced? That's supposed to help. I'm not an expert obviously on this, but if it does, then great. I mean, what have you got to lose? It's not that expensive to buy. I think the one that I got wasn't that much, so it wouldn't be a lot of money just to give it a go and see what happens. And to limit coffee and alcohol intake. I'm very sensitive to caffeine. I can't have caffeine. I usually midday, 1:00. I'm like, nope. After that, nope. So caffeine is never an issue, but occasionally I've had a drink. I've definitely noticed the change in my 40-year-old self to my 20-year-old self when it comes to alcohol. Used to be right perky after a drink when I was in my 20s. Now I feel like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards. I did have a few drinks a few nights ago, and I went to bed at 1 a.m, I think it was. I got home, which is very unlike me. I don't do it very often, probably twice a year, if that. And I'd had a very good night. I was out for my friend's birthday. It was great. I had a few drinks. I got to bed about 1:30 in the end. And then my body decided 6:00 was a great time to wake up. I was like, oh, no. No. I didn't feel great. I sort of sorted the cat out, went to the loo, took some paracetamol, glugged some water, and was like, can I go back to sleep? Because I know how hard it is for me. I very, very rarely, if ever, go back to sleep again once I've woken up. Once I've woken up, that's it. I'm awake. The day's starting. So I was praying, but I did. I actually did. And I woke up at 8, which, another couple of hours, and I felt like a totally different person when I woke up for 2 hours. So I was very thankful for that. So yeah, but alcohol, obviously it causes havoc with your sleep pattern, and it does last longer when you get older, which is another fun part of getting older. Yeah. Obviously, as a woman, I find that sleep can be different at different points around my period too. So in your luteal phase, which is before your period, you have sharp drops in your estrogen and progesterone, and this can cause sleep deprivation, basically, or lack of sleep, difficulty sleeping, which is another fun thing. But I think I've always found that sort of luteal and then getting into your ovulation phase, I think I've always found I'm a little bit more alert. I'm a little bit more like, okay, that's not the ovulation phase. I tell a lie. Ovulation phase is the midpoint, isn't it? That's when I've always found myself difficult to sleep throughout throughout my life, when my period's been, around that 15-day mark, where you're ovulating. Yeah. There's been nights where I've had insomnia where I've just literally not been able to sleep for, but something weird happens because I think my body I don't know what it's doing, but I've always felt okay. I'm always like, oh, I feel okay. Which is another thing I've noticed as I've gotten older, is the fact that I used to sometimes miss maybe a couple of nights. You have a bit of a bad sleep, but the next day I would always feel okay. And now I feel wiped out. Now I'm like, ugh, I missed sleep. I can tell. My body can tell. My body feels weary. But it's okay. It's okay. We deal. And I'm going to get my new hacks in. Add some more things into my sleep hygiene, along with my blue light blockers and no screens. I'm reading and journaling. I do also have one of them. They're like, it's a bedside light that gets dimmer. So like if it wakes you up, it's one of them ones that gets brighter. So it's supposed to be like a sunrise. So I do the opposite when I'm going to sleep. I sort of start dimming it as I get sort of closer and closer to sleep. And that does seem to do the trick sometimes, And I think there are so many things out there, I could talk forever probably on all the things, there's just sleep aids. There's like, we can track it now. And I think it's about discovering what works for you, because a lot of these things are out there. We know about them. I think you've just got to start trialing them. If you're having problems like I am, waking up early, you've just got to kind of just give them a go, see what happens. I'm going to see what happens with mine, and hopefully we can all sleep soundly for a good 7 to 8 hours every night. That's the dream. The dream. Yeah. So I wish you all a good night's rest, and I will speak to you next week. Bye. Hello, welcome to the 3 joys of the week. This week, barn dancing. Oh my God, how much fun. This was the party I went to at the weekend. And who knew you could have so much fun dancing with a bunch of strangers, like literally grabbing them, spinning them. It is so fun. It's, everyone was laughing, you go wrong, you just think it's just hilarious. Honestly, that party was great because it had barn dancing in it. It was so much fun. Also, at the beginning of that night, I had a lot of joy getting ready with your friends. There's something about, getting ready with your friends. And I think because it was also a costume party, which was quite fun. So you just, you've got people there, you've got music on, you're all doing your makeup together, you're all just looking at each other, go, how's this look? Does this look okay? Shall I do more? Or what about more eyeshadow? Should I do more? Oh, it's an absolute joy. And then you're sort of getting dressed and showing each other and sort of commenting. Yeah, I love it. I don't do it that often, like I say. I don't go out that often, but when I do, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the last one is a bit of a weird one because I'm going to say when my TV Wi-Fi stopped working. Hear me out. Basically, the other day, my TV Wi-Fi just completely stopped. And it was working on everything else, so it was my TV. I tried all the things. I thought, oh, God, this is really annoying. Okay. But what it made me do, it made me turn off the telly and go out for a walk. It kind of forced me to actually do something that I really enjoyed. And I ended up going for a lovely walk around a local park. The birds were singing. It was just, it's glorious getting out in nature, honestly. And I was like, and I came back. I was in a better mood because I've been out. And I managed to find an Ethernet cable and connect it, and it's working again. So yeah, actually, those things when they happen, you can get frustrated and be like, this isn't working. But it might be a blessing in disguise. You never know. Okay, see you next week.